KELOLAND Digital Desk. I'm meteorologist Scott Mundt. This is Weather or Not, as we are looking at things for your Wednesday, February 4th. We have areas of freezing drizzle and mist, or had that this morning in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. A lot of that will continue to push to the southeast as we continue through the morning hours, but we do have reports of some slippery conditions eastern, southeastern KELOLAND this morning because of that light glaze of ice that you may have across the east and southeast. So you really want to pay attention still to those roadways, parking lots, sidewalks, things that haven't been treated. As we get into the afternoon, conditions will improve. A lot of this will move to the southeast, and temperatures will warm above freezing. And we're starting with numbers not that far from 30 in many locations. Some are a little bit above, others are a little bit below. But on average, it's really close to 30 across KELOLAND. This afternoon, we'll see what we can do about bringing in at least a little bit of sunshine into southeastern South Dakota. We do have a better chance for sun, as you see on Futurecast, in western, central, and south central South Dakota. And then for tomorrow, I think everybody will have sunshine. We'll have a stronger west to northwest wind, Pacific air overhead. That wind will help mix the atmosphere up, bring in some warmer temperatures. And tomorrow's the day where we'll see high temperatures near 50, southeastern South Dakota. We have 52 going in Sioux Falls, maybe hitting 53 in Aberdeen. And then we have 70-degree heat in western South Dakota for Rapid City. If we hit that 70, that will set a new record. The existing record for tomorrow is 67 for downtown Rapid City. And then it changes a little as we get into Friday. There's this front that will move across eastern KELOLAND. That's a backdoor front. So eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota, we will have, it's on the tail end of that front, so why it's a backdoor front. We will have a north, maybe a northeasterly wind, and we can start the day with cloud cover, flurries, maybe another light wintry mix for Friday morning in eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. And then as we get into this weekend, better chance for sunshine. Temperatures will warm. Numbers will be well above average. Our winds today, I don't think they'll be bad. We could get a couple of these wind gusts, especially late morning, early afternoon, near 20 miles per hour. Eastern South Dakota, western Minnesota, as we continue through the afternoon hours. Notice how we'll have relatively light wind speeds. Exceptions may be north central, northeastern South Dakota, especially as we get into maybe the evening, late evening hours. That's when the winds may pick up from Britain areas to the southeast, including Summit. They could see some wind gusts over 35 miles per hour, even extending into western Minnesota. So that could be an area where we do have some stronger winds late today going into the evening. Highs today, they will range from the 20s and 30s in eastern South Dakota. 40 degrees is our going high in Pierre, 50 in Phillip, and 53 in Rapid City. Forecast for tonight, temperatures will fall to the 20s to near 30 degrees. That will cover central eastern KELOLAND. Staying a little warmer in the western South Dakota, high temperature of 40 in Rapid City. And then for tomorrow, we are off to the races. Temperatures in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and we do have 70, our forecast high in Rapid City. Coming up on the show here, we'll talk about that warm weather for tomorrow. Also, talk about the coming weekend after that step back with temperatures on Friday. We'll rebound Saturday, Sunday, and of course, we'll take a look at that weather pattern. All coming up on this latest edition of Weather or Not. Welcome back to Whether or Not. It's something that we've been talking about for at least a week. It's the warm air that's on the way. But before we get to that warm air, I just want to finish this up. This is something I worked on during the last couple of days of January. I'm just finishing this up for today, the first half compared to what happened in the second half of the month. And we figured that, the second half will be a lot different than the first, and you could see how much different when we look at the average high temperatures for the first half versus the second half. We see in Sioux Falls, we were 21.5 degrees cooler for highs, and those lows almost 24 degrees colder, as the average low temperature for the second half of January, around 5 below. Here's Aberdeen. I'll also throw in Watertown too. But here's Aberdeen. You see the second half of January, the average low around 8 below. The average high temperature close to 15. And you see the difference there going from the first half to the second half. Cooler by 21.5 degrees for the highs, 25 degrees for the lows. And one more stop here is Watertown. Look at that average low for the second half of the month, 9 below. The average high at 11. And again, the comparison there, anywhere from 23 to 25 degrees colder when you look at the highs and the lows on average. So that rounds out that graphic in January, so we don't need to revisit that anymore. But may we see the same thing for this month? Well, we are starting the month with well above average temperatures. There again is a look at Thursday with these temperatures that will be well above average. We'll have highs that will hit the upper 60s, lower 70s in western South Dakota. Eastern KELOLAND, we're forecasting numbers in the lower 50s. Now, how does this compare to the top 5 warmest for Thursday, February 5th? Well, as we look at some of these numbers, you see the record in Sioux Falls, 59. Our forecast is for 52. For us to get to 59, I think we'll have to have a lot of sunshine. We'll have to have, I would think, more of a westerly to southwesterly wind, and it would also help if we had a cold front coming through to give us some compressional warming ahead of that front to have those temperatures jump. That's what I would expect to happen if we want to hit that record high of 60 in Sioux Falls. We'll see how close we get to our forecast high of 52, but if we do get that, we'll end up in the top 5 for warmest on February 5th. We've upped that temperature in Aberdeen to 53. That will be good for a tie of third warmest on that date. And in Pierre, a high temperature of 60. That will be second warmest, so we'll have to watch that record of 61 in Pierre. And forecasting a record of 70 in Rapid City. Those are downtown Rapid City numbers at 67 for the existing record right now in 1963 for Rapid City. You know what? I'll also probably tomorrow look at Monday and Tuesday for those top 5 warmest, and probably add that to the show for tomorrow. And we'll continue to follow that on Friday, see how the numbers have changed. And we'll also do that comparison for the temperatures Thursday, Friday, see how close we actually got to some of that record warmth. Coming up after the break, our weekend forecast. Stay with us. You're watching Whether or Not. Wednesday, not too soon to talk about the weekend and what the weekend has in store weather-wise. We are looking at dry conditions, just a matter of how warm we get. And here's a quick look at our forecast for this coming weekend. Right now, we think Sunday will end up being warmer than Saturday. 45 in Sioux Falls on Saturday, 51 on Sunday. And you notice we'll go up about 4 degrees Aberdeen from Saturday to Sunday. Sunday's high at 50. And 60s will be found across western South Dakota and Rapid City. High temperature Saturday at 60 and 63 on Sunday. We'll bring in a couple other cities for you. As you see, Huron, Mitchell, temperatures near 50 for both days. Middle 50s in Chamberlain and Deadwood. We'll have temperatures in the middle to upper 50s. So here's our setup as we go through the first half of the weekend. High pressure will slide to the southeast. Keep in mind, too, that Friday will take a step back. with these temperatures, from having numbers in the 50s, 60s, and 70s on Thursday. We'll take a step back. The front moves through for Friday, but then we'll try to take us at least half a step, maybe a full step forward as we get into the first half of the weekend. And temperatures will eventually warm. I think we will have numbers returning to the 40s for highs in the southeastern KELOLAND. As we do get into Sunday, I think the temperatures may end up being just a little bit warmer than some of those numbers that you see. We touched 60 there in Rapid City. We'll see if we get any of those 60s to come into south central South Dakota for the second half of the weekend. But it looks like the warm air will continue right into early next week. We're talking temperatures probably returning to the 50s. Widespread 60s may happen as well Monday, Tuesday of next week. And we'll talk more about our weather pattern with meteorologist Brian Karstens coming up. Stay with us. You're watching Weather or Not. Welcome back to Weather or Not. And can I say fresh off the plane? Just stepping off the plane?
A day here back. I didn't see you yesterday, though, on this show.
No, you were back yesterday for KELOLAND this morning. You're back now for Weather or Not. Where were you?
Well, I went to somewhere warm. Phoenix, Arizona.
Good for you.
Yeah, it was a little warmer there.
Some family activities going on?
Yeah, I've got two girls in gymnastics that I
Fun.
meet there, so they had a lot of fun. And, so we tried to make it all work in our schedules and got down there, and it was 75, I'm pretty sure, the first day, and I think the last day was close to 80.
Oh, you had to use the AC in the car, right?
Yeah, I heard a comment in the back seat. It was getting too hot, so I said, "Yeah, the last time I'm going to hear that for a little while." But yeah, a good little getaway, just from the winter. If nothing else, the scenery there too, a little greener.
And you're
flowers.
trying to bring back at least some of that warm weather.
Yeah, it did do that a little bit. Maybe it's a little slow here in Sioux Falls. We're not quite there yet, but you know what? We will pull some milder air out of the west, and hey, let's see what happens tomorrow. We've been talking about this now for quite a while, but maybe it hits 70 in Rapid City.
Yeah, something that we will have to continue to follow as we do get into tomorrow. In the meantime, there's a look at what's going on right now. You can see that we do have above average temperatures that are in our forecast for tomorrow. So we'll continue to follow that trend as we do get into your Thursday, even a chance to set some records across maybe western South Dakota. We might be able to do that as we get into Thursday. And then those above average temperatures are expected to continue right into the weekend. We'll take a step back for Friday. We talked about that a little bit early on. Take a step back Friday, warm temperatures this weekend. And that is something that will even spill over into early next week, Brian. And that will melt snow and ice across the area.
It will, yeah. And, one of the reasons why we also have this backdoor cold front coming in, it's pretty easy to see the depth of the snow in northern Minnesota and the Red River Valley north of Fargo. And so that cold air really doesn't modify when it hits that, so it can spill back in. But, you look across our region right now, Scott, and ultimately, yeah, this little pocket of blue across eastern South Dakota, it's going to shrink. We know that's going to happen given the temperature forecast. Isn't it interesting, too, how much snow is still on the ground?
I know they had another system move through the Carolinas over the weekend.
there's more snow along the
Along the East
coast, the
Coast.
Atlantic Ocean. Look at this. Wilmington. I mean, these are places that they don't get a lot of snow. Myrtle Beach. What's going on here? Yeah. Seriously, though, it's been quite an issue here. The Southeast really getting hammered by all of this. And, the pattern's going to stay below normal on the East Coast. So just to let you know, that's kind of a little picture there of the inputs into this. You mentioned some of this, Scott, going into the big picture. And boy, oh boy, you talk about modified Pacific air. This is where this generates from. It comes right off the ocean and all the way from Alaska clear down to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You've got a ribbon of really impressive warmth here. And that's how you get warm in the month of February. You spill in weather from the west. And so as that pattern continues next week, we'll see what happens with Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But can you find any cold air in that pattern?
Really hard to. New England,
Maybe New England.
some off the West Coast. You have to really take it to the north to find
Right.
below average temperatures.
Got to go to the Arctic Circle. But even there, I mean, look at this. This is the end of That's Thursday of next week. Now, we can keep going on this, and you'll see a couple of changes. And I do think that some of this kind of spills into what the AI version of the European model was showing this morning, which is kind of the eventual breakdown of this feature, this big ridge here across the west. Now, of course, initially, see, the reason we get so warm is we're piping in that air around that. So it's a great pumping mechanism to circulate air masses and brings in Pacific air. But you watch over time, it tends to shift its position and it decreases its intensity. So now can we open up maybe a couple of systems out of the southwest? The end of next week, the AI version of the European model, there's one thing right in here. I wanted to sneak in here, and you'll see it coming out of Denver, Las Vegas there. See that little bit of troughing, and then that's trying to kick out a wave right there through Iowa, Missouri, and into the eastern Corn Belt. So, yeah, those kind of things can start to pop up. I'm not necessarily concerned yet about that being a major change right away, but it's something we'll keep watching because evidence is still there that the last half of the month will probably start changing rhythms again, but we don't have to worry about that just yet.
And, then we're in that time of year where we go from the average high of, starting the month at 28, we end the month at 37 in Sioux Falls. So as we look at these temperatures going forward, yes, we'll be well above average, but you have to think, too, when we look at that weather pattern map where we're showing the contrast in those temperatures, that climate average high continues to go up to where, when we get some of these below average days, how much colder is it compared to normal? Will it support rain? Will it support snow? That becomes a question, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's not too early to start thinking about those early spring patterns. But
I thought you were going to talk about spring planting and gardening. And
Not
you probably
quite
have
there
some
yet.
catalogs, don't you? You getting those in the mail?
Oh, yeah. There's never a shortage of those coming in. But no, we'll at least see some a nice break from, what we've had from the colder weather from late January. We've been kind of in a middle ground for a while. We're not too cold, but we're not,
We're average.
we're just near normal.
Near normal.
And it's a little drabby, too, when it's
Dreary.
overcast. Yeah. So can
That's
we
the
just...
one thing I've noticed is, the cold, it's cold out there, and the cold just gets in you. It's like, do I really want to walk the dog? And I look at the dog, and he's like, yes, you do want to walk me. Okay.
Yeah. You got to get out and get some fresh exercise. But it helps when the sun's out. I think everybody knows that. And certainly some days where if we can push some milder air, we'll get those higher thin cirrus clouds. But it should help to brighten some spirits. And in February, you kind of need that a little bit of an extra boost there. Some of you that love the winter sports, I know this is probably not your cup of tea here because we're going to lose some ice. We're going to lose some snow in this pattern. But we also know that winter is far from over. That's, very safe to say.
We know that snow season goes all the way through April and then some.
It sure does, and years past have proved that. So, but for now, take in the mild weather as it comes.
Yeah, I want to show you the Aberdeen live cam. We picked up some snow yesterday and coated in the ground there. Reports coming in half inch or less in many locations, and we will melt this over the next several days. I'll be interested to see how much of this is actually left as we get into early next week. So that's Aberdeen. I want to bring up Watertown. I know the official amount on the ground in Watertown is 3 inches. And that is something that we'll continue to watch go away as we bring in melting temperatures across eastern KELOLAND. Maybe not necessarily for today, but as we get into tomorrow, we talked about that heat, and then that step back Friday, warm temperatures do return for this coming weekend. Well, before we leave you, I do want to go over the European and the American model outlook for snow. Do we add any more snow to any of this as we go over the next week to maybe week and a half? Now, this is going out to next week, and it didn't show much of anything. But as we get into the tail end of next week, I think Brian talked about this too, trying to bring in that storm system on the AI with that trough across the southwestern United States. It all depends on our temperature. Do we cool enough to support snow, which is what this is trying to show in north central and northeastern South Dakota. So it's trying to show that turn maybe to some cooler air and a couple of systems that will try to move across the central and northern plains, maybe around the middle of the month. And then that's a look at the 18th of February. Still not adding much to our snow outlook there for, I'd say, the southern half of KELOLAND. Now, this is the American model. As we go to, next week at this time, doesn't show much of anything. As we continue in time here, it brings in that strip of snow. I think that happened around the 17th of February. And we've been watching more or less this tug of war of what's going on with our temperatures. Then when's this colder air expected to return? And how cold does it get? Do we get any storm systems to run through? We have a lot of questions to try to answer as we get into the second half of the month. And we'll continue to try to answer those questions as we continue on whether or not. Thank you for your time today. Have yourself a great day.